I think the biggest thing for me when just being a professional athlete, people look and just assume that you're supposed to be this perfect human being. You have no worries. Why are you even complaining? You live this beautiful life. When they fail to realize that we're still human.
Struggling is something that a lot of people take for granted, and they think that we're always perfect everywhere we're going. And I feel like I'm the strongest, the more beautiful, and most powerful when I'm struggling, because it shows that I can be strong at times that are trying to weaken me.
It's hard showing up every day and wearing this crown. It's heavy. It gets extremely heavy. But at the same time, I'm gonna fix it, make sure it's straight, and I'm gonna go ahead and do my work.
And I've been saying it. If you wake up and if you can say you're that girl and you can come back to who you are, then that's the best thing. Because at the end of the day, I wasn't created on this earth for no reason, and I'm gonna pursue everything that I need to do within my life.
I love that video, Callie. Wow. I'm getting over the flu, guys. So if I sound a little hoarse, forgive me, but I'm here with the birthday girl, Callie Finn. Yes, I know yesterday was your birthday, but I still want to continue to celebrate you, my friend and queen. So happy birthday again, Callie Finn, to you.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. I appreciate you joining me bright and early after your birthday, but I hope your special day was as special as you are and that you had amazing birthday festivities.
Absolutely. I'm excited to talk about this time feature with two major women in sports. This is going to be a fun conversation today.
Yeah, it is. I was really not surprised. I don't think that was the word, but maybe elated or excited. I thought it was really cool to see Asia and Jordan together. And to be clear, this is the Time Women of the Year honor, but there's about 12 women, I believe, named. So there are 2 of 12 women who were named, but they both were the 2 athletes. And it was pretty cool to learn that they sort of had this friendship developed between them. And we didn't just play everything in that video, but there was a part where Jordan said they went places together and they made things pop, which I can just believe when you think of Asia Wilson's personality and Jordan. So how cool for the 2 of them to have this friendship and to be both honored in this way. And I think both very fitting honors for both athletes.
Yeah, it's actually really funny because when this came out, Jordan's mom was obviously super excited about it as well. But then she was like, just for the record, Asia and Jordan are the same person, just at different altitudes because of their difference in height, which I thought was so funny. And you can actually see a lot of the similarities when you read this feature. It's in Q&A form, and it's really well done. Similarly to the Caitlin Clark, what was that, most influential person of the year?
So she was sportswoman, I think.
Sportswoman of the year.
Sports person, yeah.
Oh, right. She was sports person of the year, and then they had person of the year. So that was just a few months ago. It feels like time is rolling out.
Yeah.
This feels frequent, but it's good because it gives us material to discuss. But yeah, this is really fun to just kind of sort through.
The 2 altitudes comment is really funny because in the video, they were showing some behind the scenes and there were some pictures of them also from the photo shoot. And you could see that height disparity. And in one of the videos, Jordan was standing on a box. So she didn't look too short, much shorter than Asia. So it's sort of cute because one is so tall, one is so little and cute, but both such powerful, amazing women, and I mean, they both equally deserve their own sort of attention. So I don't want to just keep pairing them together because I want to acknowledge each of them individually. So, first of all, I just think this is such a fitting honor for Jordan. I'll start with her because when you just think of everything Jordan went through with the Olympics and I know obviously that's still an ongoing pending litigation. I thought that part in the story was funny when Asia was sort of saying she can't say what her true feelings are about that. But obviously she supports Jordan and believes that she should have that bronze medal. But, she's like, I won't say it the way I really want to say it. So that's so Asia. And I saw someone post or, tweet on Twitter that she's such a girl's girl, and she really is. So it's nice to see Asia support her in that way. But just all of the places we've seen Jordan since the Olympics ended, you've seen her at football games. She receives this honor. She's sort of everywhere. And like, I love that because in the past, Olympic athletes, sometimes it's like they're forgotten shortly after the Olympics, but she's continued to be places. She went back to school. And so we're still seeing her routine. She's scoring perfect tens. You know, she's just continuing to be that girl, which is like her coin phrase, which she also mentioned in that video when we started. And also she has a book come out. I mean, she's really doing her thing. And so I don't know if Time broke down like the criteria for this, because I know like for some of their awards, they do break down like what their criteria is, but I feel like she's just so fitting to receive this honor.
Yeah, I want to just like touch on what you said about ongoing like litigation, just like maybe for context, because some people might be confused. So we're talking about the Paris Olympics. She was awarded a bronze medal for her floor routine, but then her coaches afterwards filed an inquiry to have the score increased because to reflect the difficulty. So the score went from like 13.6 to 13.7. And that moved her. That was
so that's when she got the bronze, because before she actually didn't place.
Right, exactly. So that is what moved her to third place ahead of Romania's Anna Barbosu. Later, though, the Romanian team appealed, and so the CAS? What does that stand for? Like something arbitration for sports.
But to be clear, the appeal is not really of the score not being accurate or anything. The appeal is that the timing, that the appeal.
They said that they basically, her judges went to get that score increased 4 seconds too late. But then what's so crazy about that?
That's the argument. But there's video showing that it appears to be timely. And there's the guidelines around getting it in are very unclear. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but this is like the lawyer in me, because it's like, when does that trigger? Like, when does that time period start? Is it immediately when the routine ends? Is anyone officially timing it? Is there there's all these things that are sort of loose. So it's sort of it's not arbitrary, but it's like when you track and monitor that time period is also very loose and unclear. But from apparently other recordings around the arena and people who were recording at the time when you were waiting, it appeared that she actually did get it in a timely manner. But again, a lot of this comes down to when did that clock start ticking? So that's why some of this is still ongoing.
Right. That's what I was going to say. And also that like they didn't actually take away her bronze medal until like 5 days later. So I think that if you're talking about like timeliness and things like that, it's a really absurd situation. And I think embedded into so much of this feature and Q&A is like the racial aspect of it. Like Jordan spoke pretty openly. So did like USA Gymnastics about kind of the racial vitriol that she received online. She had to step away from social media after the situation with the bronze medal. And I think that that's something that Asia said in the interview she felt like she could relate to. And so that's another thing that kind of brings them together, so that this is a cohesive piece, honoring the both of them. I mean, you mentioned you don't want to lump them together, but like there's not two separate articles about these two.
Yes, for sure.
Like a crime to just talk about them too as they're represented.
I just want to give each of them their flowers because they're both like deserving. But yes, it was a piece together. The shoot was together. The video is them together, and they are friends, which I did not know about that friendship. I know you cover the Warriors. I mean, sorry, the Aces. Good Lord. Sorry, basketball brain is taking me in different places. But you cover the Aces, and you spent a lot of time with A'ja Wilson. She's had quite the February. The A1 got released. Her jersey was retired. She was in a Super Bowl ad. Now she receives this honor. I mean, talk about representing in February. She's had a huge month. And I don't know if you were aware of this friendship between her and Jordan, but I mean, you got to go to South Carolina to cover the jersey retirement up close and personal, just from all of your coverage of A'ja and being so close to the Aces. Callie, what do you think of her receiving this? And also, she said a lot of interesting things in this piece, and I really want to get your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, like you said, I think to me, stuff like this is always just about like what we get from the story. I don't think, like, to be honest, I don't know how much. Well, what I'll say is that A'ja does care about like this recognition. So I think that's important to highlight. Like she mentions that in the story, that sometimes in her position, being like one of the greatest in the WNBA that we're seeing right now. I feel like that's, I mean, she's the reigning MVP. I don't think that's like disputable. She still can feel like there's not the recognition that's deserved. And so I think that this is good because you look at, you know, the month that she's had, and I think this is kind of like, it's all deserved. And I think that it's kind of like a celebratory time for her, like so many things kind of breaking through at once. And so I think that's kind of cool to watch as like a bystander, obviously having covered her for this whole season and like looking at how we started, like this off season was in a really weird place. Like I remember that probably my first time interviewing her, she was being fielded all these questions at an Aces practice about Caitlin Clark and Caitlin Clark's shoe deal and all this stuff. I think a lot of people think that like A'ja talks about this stuff unprompted. Like, no, she gets asked. And I think that that probably like leads to some frustration because it's like, dang, we just came from the finals and all this stuff. And you want to ask me about certain. So I think that like to come from that to where she's being asked about like, what does it feel like to have people tell you you're not marketable? And what does it feel like to have to go on social media and tell your fans to not to lie about your shoe? And now it's like, that's pretty far in the rear view. The shoe has been revealed. We're in the midst of like a really cool campaign surrounding her. And like, this is like almost like her victory lap. And it's funny that the timing that it comes in because, you know, like she talks about it in this story, like they didn't three-peat. That was like the goal this season. So it's like a victory lap on one end, but then she's also like acutely aware of, you know, something that she wishes that she could have changed. So it's really interesting to look at as, you know, just like an outsider.
Yeah. What I love about A'ja, and she always puts it on display, is her vulnerability. And some of the things she said in that story, you know, about like, you know, her teammates needing to know that like, you know, it's like her crown is heavy. And I'm glad that she acknowledges that. We all know that. And still having to show up every day and sort of be that leader and be strong, and that how much she really needs them and relies on them. And, you know, it may look one way on the outside, but she's human and she's, you know, going through things on the inside. And, you know, even talking about the fact that like she doesn't want to cry because she knows sort of like that stigma attached to that with women, but like you have to let it out sometimes. And I appreciate that honesty and vulnerability from her. I feel like we need more people, like not just women, like people, athletes, to talk like that, to humanize them, because I think often they are dehumanized. So I really love that from A'ja. I just think she's so incredible. She really is an amazing person. So, you know, Jordan, A'ja, incredible, both incredible athletes. And, you know, like you said, I don't know like how athletes rank these honors,
Right.
but I think it's great because, like you said, it gives us the ability to talk about them and bring recognition and shine to them and highlight and remind people about who they are and what they've done. And I think Jordan Child's mother is so cute. She's always like with her posts and stuff like that. So I just think it was a great moment for them. It's also like sort of we're not done yet, but like it's also a great Black History Month moment as well, right? Let's not forget that we are in Black History Month. So I think it was a really cool story. I think it was the video. I love the behind the scenes. I just loved everything about it. And Jordan Chiles is one of my favorite like Olympians. I know it's always about Simone Biles, but I think that she's built a whole lane for herself and really garnered a lot of attention, and people love her. I mean, people love that team, but I just think she's so, I don't know what the right word is, but I just love the lane she's created for herself. And I believe I forget which late night show it was or one of the talk shows, but she did indicate that she still has that bronze medal. And I want her to hold on to it. I'm like, don't send it back, girl, because that is your bronze. And obviously, yes, I'm probably biased as an American, but still, I think she's phenomenal, and I really always love watching her and hearing her speak. And the same for A'ja Wilson. So congratulations to A'ja and Jordan. I don't know if you have anything else to add, Callie, but that's all I have to say. Congratulations to the two of them.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I thought there are so many good things in the story. I guess we don't have to get into them, but like I would recommend reading it because like there's a lot of good stuff in there. 100%.
If you think there's anything we missed, please call it out before we wrap.
Oh
But
yeah.
definitely
I
people
mean,
should
I
go read
think
it.
even Asia talking about Caitlin Clark, because we're talking about these time recognitions, and like we just had that Caitlin Clark piece recognizing her as sports person of the year, and she was asked about white privilege and how that's impacted her experience. And I think there were a lot of people that were upset about her response because she did acknowledge the privilege, and
Right.
she talks about how like that's a process, and she is actively looking on learning more, whatever the case may have been in that situation. But Asia was asked in this piece what it meant to read a response like that from Caitlin Clark. And Asia was talking, she basically said she's grateful for someone like Caitlin Clark to use their position to speak out in a sense like that. I think that that's really important because I feel like there's like this weird situation where they're like pitted against each other. And that's obviously
Right.
nothing new in sports, in women's basketball. But like it's cool to see that like unity in a way. Like Asia's like, no, I really appreciated it. She said that it was powerful. And that like that's stuff like that is really crucial. She was talking about how like as a Black woman, like her path is never supposed to reach the same place as Caitlin Clark's, but like how that's her goal is to always kind of like exceed expectations and do things she's not supposed to do, but then like also be outspoken and things like that. And so to have someone like Caitlin Clark do that, I thought that really stood out to me. I also think in terms of like if you're an Aces fan, seeing Asia say she like never wants to leave the Aces.
That was really huge. Yes.
And like her, because she said that in an interview that I'd put out like a couple weeks ago. Now it's like this twice that she said that. So like that's pretty clear. So I think there's like a lot in there. I think even like about privacy, like with Jordan Chiles, she was talking about how like if she had the choice, she wouldn't share anything about her life online, but like she makes an intentional decision to do that because she wants the younger generation to have something to look up to. I think Asia does the same thing. They both talked about like their choices to engage with social media discourse. But like for Asia, she was kind of like, I mean, if I have time, I'm going to respond because if you can diss me and not do what I do, then I can respond to you type thing. But also like you mentioned, like Jordan Chiles has a book, Asia has a book, like Dear Black Girls, I'm that girl. Like they both have like, it seems like similar missions, which is to like be an example. If you can see it, you can be it. You talk about Black History Month, like this is the type of representation that that you want at a time like this. So I think that that was really cool too, that despite maybe some of the social media discourse or whatever difficulties they face, they're still like showing up in multiple ways, not just online, you know? So I think that that's really cool too.
Yeah, I think it's important for people to remember that. I think Beyonce has made similar comments. Like they choose to share certain things with us. And so what we know about them is what they choose to share. And we should stop assuming we know these famous people, these athletes. We don't know them just because of what we see about them on social. And we've seen Asia take a little bit of a break from being on Twitter. She's using Instagram and their
Threads.
threads a lot more. And so, I'm sure, I'm not sure because I don't know her, but that's probably like best for her right now at this time to do that. And I really respect that. And so, and I think when it comes to the Caitlyn stuff, I mean, we've heard Asia and Becky talk about the fact that there's nothing there with Caitlyn and also, Asia be thankful to players like Caitlyn, like Kelsey Plum, like Paige Beckers, who have used their platforms before to honor, not to honor, but to call out the disparities that exist between like the Black and white players in women's basketball. So it's not shocking to me. And I think many of us appreciated Caitlyn's comments. So just hopefully when people see that and they hear that this idea that there's some issue and that the players are jealous and they don't like her, appreciate her, hopefully hearing more players say stuff like that will dispel that idea. But I'm glad that Asia said that. And, like I said, again, just congratulations to both of them. Like Callie said, it is a great piece. Go read it. Time, job well done. Really, really everything, the videos, the pictures, the whole way the piece was put together, really, really well done and highlighting both of these tremendous women and athletes. Until next time, I appreciate you joining me, Callie, birthday girl. Take care. Have a great weekend. And guys, we'll be back next week.